Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patron, Sri V. Thank you for choosing to support the channel. There are some altered images of what we believe to be one of the more affordable models that hopefully we find out about here in the next few weeks floating around on X, but here is the source. It came from a Met God in Wilderness YouTube video. As I always say, it's pretty tough to tell given potential distortion from different angles and lenses, but I will admit seeing this vehicle right next to a Model Y, it does indeed appear a bit smaller. Now, is this going to be a two-door vehicle? From this picture alone, I'm not ready to say that. However, we do know these more affordable models are going to use some aspects of the new unboxed manufacturing process, and we know that's going to be for the Cybercab, which is a two-door vehicle. So I really would not be surprised if at least one of these more affordable models was a two-door vehicle. I'm just not ready to say that's the case from this image or video alone. But yes, these more affordable models are now officially late. Tesla did hint earlier this year that they were going to be delayed. And now, given the fact that the big beautiful bill has indeed passed the House and is expected to be signed by Trump, the EV tax credits are expected to go away at the end of September this year. So is there a world where Tesla delays these more affordable models into Q4 to offset some of the demand pull forward that Tesla is undoubtedly going to see throughout Q3? The thought process goes Q3 is now likely to be very strong for Tesla and Q4 could be unexpectedly weak. But if the more affordable models are launched at the beginning of Q4, that could certainly help to offset a weak Q4. But there are good arguments for the other side of the case, given that the EV credits are only for the US market, and as we know, Tesla's a global company. So would Tesla really delay these models just because they're worried about a weak Q4? Personally, I don't think Tesla's that concerned about playing the quarterly delivery number game anymore. I'm really of the camp that Tesla's going to release these new models whenever they're ready. And who knows, maybe it takes them another couple weeks, if not months, to get these vehicles ready to go, and it just works out that they're not ready until Q4. But for me, if I had to guess, I would still expect to see these new models sometime in Q3, and if we don't get them in the next 3 weeks or so, then I'm sure we'll get a question about it on the Q2 call, which will be held on Wednesday, July 23rd at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The only thing I really want to say about Tesla's Q2 P&D report is that the other models line is quite disappointing, which means right now things for the Cybertruck do not look good. And if things don't pick up in the back half of this year, we're going to start having the conversation if the Cybertruck is actually a flop. And guys, look, I understand it's an awesome vehicle, the engineering and the technology and the driving experience, all of it is great. But clearly the market is telling us it's either a price point problem, a range problem, an aesthetic problem, a too obviously tied to Tesla's brand problem, or as I hinted at earlier this week, most of the pickup buyer market is just not yet interested in electric versions. So I'm willing to give the Cybertruck another 2 quarters to see how things go, to see if Tesla has any levers that they want to pull here. But right now things are absolutely trending in the wrong direction for the Cybertruck. But overall, the deliveries came in much better than expected. The whisper number for Wall Street was around 365,000, and the Model 3 and Y are doing well enough given the macro environment and the overall auto market. And frankly, the value of the Model 3 and Y is just too good for most people to want to make the jump to the S and X. And on the energy side, by the end of 2025, Tesla is looking to form that hockey stick-like growth for energy storage deployments. As you can see, for 2025 through 2 quarters, Tesla Energy is almost where they were last year through 3 quarters. To put some numbers on it, through the first 2 quarters this year, Tesla Energy is at 20 gigawatt hours deployed, whereas through the first 3 quarters last year, Tesla Energy had deployed 20.3 gigawatt hours. Some of you may know that over the years, Elon has inspired me to take an interest in manufacturing, and he planted the seed for me that it would be awesome to bring a physical product to market. So for quite a few years now, I've always wanted to be a part of building something tangible that really makes people's lives better. Now, I'm still working on adjusting my prototype, but with this second business I'm running comes all kinds of website, funnel, and marketing needs. Fortunately, a while back, I was watching an interview with the CEO of Mind Pump, and in that video, they talked about Kinsta, which is a managed hosting provider for WordPress that offers fast, secure, and reliable website hosting with 24/7 support. And let me tell you, the back end of websites with domains and certificates and security can be a serious headache, even for someone like myself that's fairly tech savvy. And that's where Kinsta comes in, who is now actually the sponsor of this video. If you ever need help with slow website speeds, downtime, unhelpful support, or security risks, I would strongly encourage you to look into Kinsta. Their team of experts can handle your website so you can focus on higher value activities like growing your business. With Kinsta, you can talk to real humans 24/7, 365, which is so rare in 2025. G2 has ranked Kinsta number 1 in WordPress hosting, outranking 368 other providers. Kinsta's control panel is super intuitive and easy to use, so even if you're not technical, it's very straightforward. Plus, they're in a league of their own with security with an enterprise-level firewall and DDoS protection, among other features, so you can have peace of mind your website and data are safe from threats. So if you're tired of being your own website support team, which I certainly was, you can switch your hosting to Kinsta and get your first month free, plus a 30-day money-back guarantee. And don't worry about the move, Kinsta handles the entire migration for you. You can use my link in the description below or scan the QR code on the screen to get started. There are some videos out there of Teslas driving around downtown Austin with some camera tripod devices on top of the roof. My guess is these would be Lidar devices, which is a point I've been wanting to make because I see a lot of confusion about this. First of all, Tesla's been using Lidar for ground truth validation now, dating back to 2021. I'm guessing some of you forgot this, but about a year ago, there was a report that Tesla had bought about $2 million in Lidar sensors from Luminar. So pretty interesting how that one all turned out. So what Tesla does here is they use these Lidar sensors to get super accurate measurements for depth and distance, and then those are actually compared to the outputs of Tesla's camera-only system to make sure that it's reliable and accurate. And it brings up a fair question. Is Tesla going to have to do this ground truth validation in every city before it rolls out its Robotaxi network? And for me right now, my expectation would be no. However, in the early days, and maybe for the next year or so, I do think Tesla is going to run this process wherever it expands the service. Mainly because Tesla told us how focused they're going to be on safety. So this is just one more layer to ensure that its camera-only system is dialed in as well as it can be. So with this ground truth data as a reference point basically, which helps calibrate and refine Tesla's AI model for cameras only, over time, Tesla will develop more and more confidence in its camera-only system and its ability to perceive depth and distance without using Lidar. But here's the trillion-dollar thought. Once Tesla's camera-only system is fully validated in Austin and it proves it can perform reliably, Tesla's generalized AI model should, in theory, be able to generalize those capabilities to other cities. So the goal has been the same all along, a system that just adapts to new environments without requiring location-specific pre-mapping. So the thinking goes, if the Robotaxi fleet can work well in one complex environment, then it should be capable of handling similar conditions elsewhere. And then the question becomes, for as long as Tesla has to do this Lidar validation, whether it's 3 months or 2 years, what's the actual lead time for how long it takes before Tesla can deploy its Robotaxis in that area that's been validated? Meaning, do these Lidar-based vehicles have to drive around new areas for 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months before that ground truth data is actually fed into Tesla's generalized model, which of course helps to refine and improve the network. So the thought is that at some point in the future, Tesla will need less and less of this validation. But I'll give it to you. For now, it is somewhat of an open question. And as I've been saying, I think it might feel like a slow rollout through the back half of this year, since we know the capabilities of Tesla's FSD system. And we'll just have to wait and see if our thesis thesis is proven right throughout 2026. That thesis being Tesla is actually going to have the ability to scale way faster than anyone else. All that to say, personally right now I have zero concerns that Tesla is now all of a sudden going to need to pre-map every single city that it rolls out to. I just think for the first handful of cities, since Tesla is so focused on safety and going above and beyond, that while they're gathering data from the actual Robotaxi fleet and improving the operations, why not also have a few people helping to validate with Lidar? Tesla clearly believes this will help to improve the model. Just think about it over time, as any discrepancies between what Tesla's cameras are seeing and perceiving and what the Lidar is seeing and perceiving, Tesla's camera system will continually be refined and get closer to the ground truth, and that calibration should apply to most other markets as well. So if over time, Tesla's cameras can consistently estimate distances to within a few centimeters of the Lidar measurements, then further validation might not be needed. And again, the goal really has not changed. Over time, Tesla's model will become self-sustaining, ultimately relying on its own predictions and all of the fleet data. And listen, even if Tesla is still doing this Lidar validation 3 years from now, the thought would be that maybe they only have to do it for a couple of days just to double check that the cameras are seeing each new environment well. And once they have the confidence that's the case, well, they can roll out the unsupervised robotaxis. So over time, I'm still very confident that this Lidar validation will be less and less important and less time consuming. Those Tesla vehicles with drivers in the driver's seat are going up and down the South Congress Bridge in downtown Austin. And as a critical refresher, on the Q1 call, Tesla said unsupervised paid rides would be in many other cities in the US by the end of this year. So their expectation still is to ramp up very quickly, as they said. But right after that, here's a point for the bears. They said it does seem increasingly likely that there will be a localized parameter set, especially for places that have, say, very snowy weather, like say if you're in the Northeast or something. So it's increasingly obvious there's some value to having a localized set of parameters for different regions and localities. But this is, I'll put that in the nice to have category, not the it's required category. Those were comments from Elon, so ultimately there is still some murkiness to this whole situation, and to some degree we're just going to have to wait and see how it all plays out and how aggressive or cautious Tesla chooses to be. James Douma said the Tesla Robotaxi versus Waymo debate is turning out to be a case study in the bitter lesson, which really just boils down to whoever has more and better compute and more and better data is going to win. And it's a bitter lesson because it devalues human intuition and any specialized approaches, aka the compute and the data consistently outperform any intricate human engineered systems. Also, one last critical distinction here. I see a lot of people saying that Tesla is mapping out Austin with all of this Lidar, and while I would have to grant there's a very small chance Tesla's doing that because we don't know for sure, I'd be very confident in saying that's not what Tesla's doing. They are just validating its camera system. So gathering select ground truth data on some different streets is not at all the same thing as mapping an entire city and then relying on those maps to drive. So in short, validation and mapping are not the same. And of course, mapping every single road that a robotaxi is eventually going to be on is not at all scalable. And even if it was, roads are constantly changing thanks to construction. So not only is Tesla likely getting ready to expand its service area in Austin with this new validation in areas that are outside the current geofence, but Tesla continues to invite new people outside of the Tesla network. Young St. Luke said his brother got the invite. He lives in the geofence and he is not a Tesla owner. He also said later his brother owns like 2 Tesla shares. At this point, I think it's safe to say that invites are officially going out to the general public. Nick also shared a video of one of his Robotaxi rides in very heavy rain, and the ride was not stopped due to the elements. Now, we've known FSD is capable of operating well in the rain, and it was likely just a risk tolerance issue for Tesla at launch. So to me, this is a very positive sign that Tesla's feeling good about the launch and is confident enough to continue the service in heavy rain, which could indicate some of the other variables Tesla was trying to focus on and control for are operating well, allowing Tesla to gradually take on more risk. Nick also shared this close-up image of what appears to be a type of metal on the bottom of the Robotaxi. It's all just speculation on exactly what this is for at the moment, and I really don't have a strong opinion on what it's for right now. It'd be awesome if it had something to do with wireless charging or even alignment for wireless charging, but if I had to guess, I'd say we're still a little too early for that. And check it out, Tesla is definitely listening to all of the feedback. No surprise, you now have the ability to drop a pin in the app for your pickup location. However, as you can see, you can't just drop a pin anywhere. There are select options where you're able to place the pin, and then you have the option to actually confirm that pickup location. I'm guessing over time, the number of these locations available will continue to expand. And I'm assuming all of these locations where you can drop a pin are pretty ideal pickup locations. So very encouraging to see Tesla implementing some of this feedback into the app already. On the supervised FSD front, Tesla has released a video of FSD operating in Madrid, Spain. As we said earlier this year, the expectation is that by the end of September, UNECE Regulation 171 will allow system-initiated maneuvers for something like Tesla's supervised FSD on highways in participating countries, including Spain. But the word is Tesla's FSD would not be allowed to function on city streets. And just like many other countries in the EU, Spain is a part of the UNECE, so they'll be waiting for them to codify broader autonomous regulations, unless a country like the Netherlands does go forward with one of those Article 39 exemptions. It would really just depend on if Spain wants to quickly follow the leader. So per the usual, it's still pending regulatory approval. So we now have FSD videos in Spain, Italy, the Netherlands, France, Australia, Canada, US, Mexico, China, Germany, and Puerto Rico.
I do my espresso while I'm driving.
This is the best I've seen you drive.
Aren't I a good driver?
It's only like a 10. It's only like a 10. Oh my God. It's like myself.
It's waiting for this car to go.
Oh.
I love when I'm doing FSD. I'll talk to you later, okay? Oh my God, Dad.
Oh
my God, Dad. Dad.
I had driving anxiety. I wasn't sure what I was going to be able to do.
You're able to take in everything around you and kind of enjoy the ride without getting so mentally stressed, mentally fatigued by focusing on, oh, what's that car going to do? This car, because we have all these cameras watching exactly what's going on.
Long road trips, no problem. It literally is a hands-free experience.
What is happening right now?
So, as it turns out, Congress has officially passed the big, beautiful bill as the House passed the vote, meaning it's on its way to Trump's desk, and the expectation is he's going to sign it. And yes, I know Sawyer already shared a post with some of the impacts, but there are some things that I still need time to look into and double check. And as always, I would rather just take time myself reading through it to make sure I'm understanding it, rather than just regurgitating something that somebody else said that I haven't had a chance to fact check. I read through a dozen plus different articles today, just seeing how they're covering it, and let me just say, be very careful with what you hear because there's a lot of conflicting reporting and a lot of nuance being left out of the conversation. For now, the only thing I'd say confidently is that the $7,500 EV tax credit is set to expire at the end of September this year, and that deadline applies for the used EV credit as well that was $4,000, which is why I said earlier, Tesla is likely to have a big pull forward of demand into Q3. But things are going to be a lot more complicated on the solar and battery storage side, both at the residential and utility levels and at the consumer and production levels. So I'll take the weekend to get to the bottom of it, and I'll make it as clear as possible early next week, as long as Trump signs the bill in the next day or so as expected. This chart was shared showing how the US is lagging in BEV market share for the trailing 12 months, coming in at 7.9%. The top 5 countries, Norway at 93%, followed by Denmark at 59%, then the Netherlands, Singapore, and Sweden in 5th at 35%. And the bottom 5, we have Croatia and Brazil at 2.4%, followed by Chile and Mexico, and then Japan at the bottom at 1.3% BEV market share. And the passage of this bill is certainly not going to do any favors for the US on this chart. Tesla Charging now shared they have a site in Lost Hills, California with 168 stalls, 11 megawatts of solar, and 10 Tesla Megapacks constructed in 8 months. Right now, 84 stalls are actually open, solely powered by the sun, and they're operating off-grid. The remaining stalls and the lounge are coming later this year. Max from Tesla said, "We started exploring this project 2 years ago. It was clear that there would be a significant shortage of charging capacity for this corridor, that the 20 megawatt plus utility upgrades would not arrive in time, and that nobody was doing anything about it. Tesla Charging is serious about not slowing down EV adoption, and hence had to leverage the full Tesla energy ecosystem." So this is it right here, the off-grid blueprint for charging that I wish Tesla was deploying more often, but it's always great to see it. Tesla Charging really has been busy lately. They just shared some site arrival improvements rolling out. There are new icons indicating valet only or pay to park. There are new notifications for pay to park, and it'll tell you parking floor and access codes, and all of the details are easily accessible in the site card. So it would be nice in the future if you could filter out some of the paid sites or the valet only ones. But the more granular information Tesla can share, the better. Speaking of charging, not a Tesla app is saying that rate-based charging appears to be a new feature in a new app update that will enable the wall connector to automatically charge your vehicle via the Powerwall when electricity prices are low. They're also highlighting a future feature where the Robotaxi will be able to access your calendar to share it with your ride. There's also an iOS permission alert that says Robotaxi allows you to use Siri to interact with your ride, which could imply a potential future Robotaxi app update that could support Siri for commands to control the Robotaxi, like "Hey Siri, open trunk," or "Hey Siri, pull over." Which, yes, brings up questions about what Grok's audio functionality will be, but we'll just have to wait and see. Speaking of a fully integrated ecosystem, Jesse Pelton said, "If the US built as much solar as China did in May, it would free up enough thermal capacity to power every data center on the planet." To which Elon said, "Maybe there should be a solar gigafactory in America." Beth said, "Make it happen. There's a play here scaling solar and batteries and GPU clusters as fully integrated data centers. Maybe X could offer a cloud platform using data center building IP from xAI and energy from Tesla." To which Elon replied with a wink. Now, I'm not sure how much solar and battery storage one of these AI data centers would need, but the idea of a self-sustaining data center that generates its own power, stores it efficiently, and uses that power to run these energy-intensive AI models is absolutely something I would like to see a lot more of. And yes, that would obviously lead to a lot more Tesla Megapack demand. And I'm guessing some of you will get sick of me saying it, but here's just more proof that Tesla will absolutely benefit from everything that xAI is working on. And even if Tesla never owns a portion of xAI, that relationship is still going to be incredibly beneficial for both companies. And don't forget X potentially being in the mix, as it could operate a cloud platform like Amazon Web Services and leverage its user base and data for certain AI applications. Tesla North America said ahead of July 4th, red, white, and blue paint upgrades will be on the house. It applies to the new Model 3 and Y and 2025 Model S and X you have to order by July 14th. Tesla stock closed the day at $315.35, down 0.1%, while the NDX was up 0.99%. And I wanted to keep today's episode as brief as possible so everyone can get a jump on any long weekend festivities or travels. And apologies for missing yesterday's episode. I was invited to a family get-together last minute and ended up staying there way later than anticipated. And I didn't have any cell service to drop an update. Don't forget, check out Kinsta linked below, as it will make managing your website so much easier. And as always, thank you for supporting the channel in that way. Hope you all have a safe and wonderful weekend. Safe travels if you are. Please like the video if you did, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.